Hello Aries, and welcome to my channel, Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements, looking at your connection between you and the person that you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. We'll be pulling for all three sides of the connection, so we'll look at your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it, the concept being that there are three sides to every story. So we'll be looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. This middle section we'll be looking at what is the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and to leave what does not. On that note, and especially if you are a cross watcher, just know that this whole reading can be reversed. If that is the case for you, that is totally fine and totally normal. Again, the point is to take what helps and to leave what does not. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right, Aries, let's jump on in. We're going to start with looking at overall energy for this connection through oracle cards first. So we're going to look at your energy, their energy, and the energy in between the connection with oracle cards. And then we're going to dive deeper into the reading with tarot as we progress. So the reading might start out as vague, but then we get deeper as we progress. So let's start with your side of this connection to the person you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. This is Aries energy toward this person. Oof, okay. Patience, reciprocity, and then the first card that came out was detachment. And when I heard this, I hear like I had no choice or I have no choice. There is this energy of reluctantly, I don't know if it's having to create distance, create space, set a boundary or what, like from this person that you're dealing with. And I think that this is like very much a last resort kind of thing. There was a lot of patience on your end for a really long time, specifically around reciprocity. And I think that what you were receiving from this person wasn't in alignment with what you desired or what it is that you know that you deserve. And I think that because of that, you felt you had to detach, even though you didn't want to. Now, I think that what you're really struggling with is anything better going to come along? Because I do feel like there were a lot of really good things about this connection that you felt really hopeful for. So the energy that you're in right now is the struggle to believe that you're ever really going to be able to find what it is that you deserve. And I think that the reason that this energy is coming through in this reading is because there's something about a cycle that keeps showing up in your life that you're needing to address so that you don't keep repeating it. Because I almost feel like there's something about this connection that is maybe very similar to either past connections you've had or relationships that you're used to in the past. So with that being said, let's look at this person's energy toward you. Growth, kind of heard with that card a lot of growing up to do. This person has a lot of growing up to do, even if they're like a full-blown adult. This person's energy toward Aries. What else? I felt like a specific card. What is it? Trapped. They have a lot of growing up to do, but they're trapped. What are they trapped in? Ego or, oh, contract. This person's priorities are not aligned here with what's best for them. This kind of feels like they're stuck in spaces that don't align with them, that's really stunting their ability to grow. I don't know, it could be a job situation, it could be patterns of behavior. Like this contract, it kind of seems like the way that this is really coming through is or like things that their soul that their soul is required to experience in this lifetime. But these things are really holding them back. So they're trapped in situations that are holding them back. And I feel like maybe you tried to have a lot of patience around this, but I don't know. Let's look at the truth of this connection between you and this person, Aries. Just shuffle it really quick. Truth of the connection between Aries and this person. These cards feel so specific. Dream come true with sparks. Okay, so when you first met this person and when this connection first came into your life, I feel like it really felt like this dream come true energy. There was a lot of potential that you saw, a lot of potential that you felt, and I feel like that was very equal on both sides. However, with this sparks card, it feels as if this connection never fully like took off. Almost as if it never, like a spark didn't turn into a flame. Almost like it never fully developed into what you saw it could be here. And again, I think that you were kind of waiting on that. And I see that with this quality time card. I'm really drawn to this clock. It's like you were waiting, but you kind of got to this point where you're like, I can't wait forever. I can't wait to get to this place forever. And now I feel like you're, like I said, kind of dealing with the fear that nothing better is ever going to come along. So I think that there's something about why you were drawn to this connection specifically and what it's trying to teach you. Because we're drawn to our lessons before we're drawn to our healing. We don't realize it until we do the healing. But which can make it really confusing in the process of all of it. Overall theme of this for Aries. I had dog hair all over this table. And I just cleaned it today. Overall theme of this reading for Aries, please. Accept for all it is worth. Overstepped boundaries. This is really complicated for you because I do feel like you know that this person does care about you. But the way that they show up is inadequate. But this accept it for all that it's worth card is, again, Spirit saying that there is a deeper purpose for this. There's a reason that this came into your life. Is there anything else? And it feels a lot like failure to you or like missing out on potential, but it's not, because you have detour and then you have sacrifices must be made with closure. This connection is a detour. This relationship or this cycle is a detour from the love that you deserve, specifically around what you believe is required of you in order to receive love. And I think that we'll dive into more of that like as we get into tarot. But yeah, there's definitely a deeper purpose, a deeper reason for why you've been drawn to this. Or like why you're drawn to similar types of connections, like connections that are like this one. Like this might be a dynamic that plays out for you a lot in your relationships. But let's dive into this more. This is Aries' side of this connection to the person they are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. This is for Aries' side of the connection. Goodness, yeah. There's this energy of feeling hopeless. hopeless about this connection and maybe even about your love life in general, because this is a really deep loss here. And I think that, but it's always hard. You know, sometimes it's hard to make the choice we know is right for us, even though it's hard, right? But there's a really deep loss here, because I feel like you feel almost like you're missing out on the possibility for you to have the love that you deserve at all. Like, because this person didn't change, or, you know, the way that they were showing up, it's almost like this was my chance, and I don't think that chance is ever going to come around again. But it is, and that's like one of the most important things that Spirit's trying to bring forth in this reading. But I feel like understanding this person's energy, or this, like, what this is, this purpose, this connection's purpose in your life is a really important part of that. Ace of Cups in reverse. I want clarity on this Ace of Cups in reverse. Okay. I kind of feel like I'm speaking to a collective that's trying to just be like, I just want to be done with it. I just want to be done. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to deal with it. And Spirit's saying, no. There's something important here that you have to learn. And though I will always be a firm believer that we shouldn't dwell on the past, I do think that the past or certain things in our life are always trying to teach us something, because Spirit's trying to show you a different way forward instead of finding yourself back in the same kind of connection. What happened here? What is this representing? That's what I want to know. Like, what? It looked good on paper. The Nine of Pentacles, it looked, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I wanted. And then things just kind of fell apart at the end. It never really fully, it never fully developed into what you expected, especially emotionally. Or like in an intimate way. Because I feel like what you were desiring here was, similar effort, similar emotional availability, emotional depth. And it just feels like, and I don't think that this is a lack of you asking. Like, I feel like this is asking to be met, where you wanted to be met, asking for what you desired, and just consistently not receiving change. You could have been it could be an earth sign, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, but it doesn't have to be, because I feel like this is almost like this person, like from the outside, like looked very much like your typical person. But here's the thing, and I'm going to be really honest with you, Aries. A lot of times we think we have a type. We don't have a type. We have a wound that draws us into a certain type of person. And it's almost like you keep getting drawn to a certain type of person. And this certain type of person isn't capable of loving you in the way that you deserve. So then you find yourself back in the same place. It's like you've seen this film before. Like, you've walked this path before. You know what this looks like. You know what this feels like. But it's almost like you keep dating the same person over and over again, even if you've been through relationships with different people. Or maybe this is a cycle with one person, depending on your situation. Okay, yeah, Two of Cups, and then with the Page of Wands clarified. With this energy, I feel like you've, I think love has been something that's been very complicated for you for a lot of your life. Something that I feel like you've always struggled to receive. And not that you weren't loved, but I feel like you've never really been loved unconditionally and in the way that you do truly deserve. And so there's a type of love that you're very used to. And this type of love that you're very used to keeps drawing you into cycles with people that treat you like you're used to, even though what you're used to isn't as good as it can get or what you truly deserve. So there's inner child wounding that's asking to be addressed. Because the thing is, we are going to be attracted to our wounding because we're looking for the healing of our wounding. But a lot of times what happens is we look for the healing of our wounding in the same spaces and the same types of people that wound us in the first place. And I feel like that's what keeps happening. And that's why Spirit's saying, no, you don't just want to like shut this down and move forward from this, because if you do that, you're just going to find yourself back in the same place. There's something here that really needs to be addressed so that this doesn't keep repeating. Because it's not that the love that you deserve isn't possible. It's that there's a cycle that's blocking you from it. Remember, we saw that detour card. This is a different kind of reading because it's interesting. I feel like you're not, I almost feel like I'm speaking to a collective maybe that isn't even really looking for clarity on this connection, but is more so just kind of like fed up and frustrated. That's kind of the energy that I get. Fed up and frustrated, maybe with love in general. Okay, let's look at this person's energy toward you. Trapped with growth. This person's energy, because I'm really curious about their energy to know like how it keeps playing into this cycle. Maybe you are looking for clarity on this person, and if you are, that's okay too. But I also feel that the main part of this is understanding the cycle at play, more so than like what's going on with this specific person. Person's energy toward you, Aries. These cards feel so specific. Like, okay, Temperance, Emperor in reverse. Person does not like vulnerability. They aim for control, which is quite literally the opposite of vulnerability. It's interesting seeing the Ace of Cups in reverse on both sides here. This person does a lot of kind of pushing things down, not dealing with feelings or emotions. And in fact, I think that a lot of the things that they do are to actually avoid feelings and emotions. I feel like there are things about like emotional depth that make this person really uncomfortable. And it's almost as if that might be like why they tend to put their energy toward other things, and why you maybe felt like you were never really prioritized, or you were never really like a focus in their life. It's not because they didn't care. I do feel like they care. But I also feel that they're at a certain place in their own emotional journey where they're so disconnected from themselves and how they really feel that it's very much like just kind of going through the motions, surface level, making light out of everything. Like, I just feel like it's just like they live very up here, where it's comfortable, even though there's a craving of more. There's a craving for more depth for sure. It's a little bit immature too, and I think that goes back to like this person has a lot of growing up to do. There are very real feelings here. With this Ace of Wands, I feel like there are feelings, there are passion, and I think you know that too. I think you know this person cares about you. That's not a secret. I don't feel like you've ever really necessarily wondered that. I feel like what makes this so hard for you is you do know that they care about you, but how they show up isn't okay. Which is like truly one of the most pure forms of self-love, is like when you can recognize that there's potential, but you can also recognize that you deserve more than what's being presented to you at this time. So what's the cycle here? You spark a lot of fear in this person when it comes to love. Here you are, Aries, whether you're male or female, it doesn't matter, but you are showing up as the Queen of Wands. You spark a lot of fear in this person when it comes to love, and I think that it's something that it's almost like it happens to you in the past too. It's like you desire this depth and you see this potential in the connection, but then you're dealing with people who are afraid of that depth and who run from it. So I feel like you have a tendency to really attract people who run from relationships or run from depth in connection, which typically means that, you know, they desire the connection, but they don't really want to, you know, go into like the deep stuff. The deep stuff is too much. It's too uncomfortable. It requires them to get vulnerable. It requires them to, you know, take off the mask and get real and honest about who they are and what they want and how they feel. And it's something that I feel like this person just avoids at all costs. To be honest with you, I feel like this person lives very in their head. It's very disconnected. It's very unconscious. It's very much in this place of, I mean, that's what they're trapped. Yeah, they're trapped there. Because I don't feel like there's a ton of like joy and fulfillment in their energy. It actually feels like there's a lot of desire. And I feel like they go about trying to find that desire in a lot of the wrong ways. Maybe through wealth or through like trying to prove their worth and their value to others, or try to be, I don't know what society wants them to be or something. Like they go about trying to fill this void in a very disconnected way. And it's like money isn't going to fill that void, you know. The things that they're chasing, the things they're after, like that's not going to fill the void. And I think you know that you're like, because the void that they're it's love is what they're missing, and not necessarily just love of another person, okay, but love of themselves, that deep connection to themselves. Like that's what they're craving. I mean, that's what we all crave. That's what fulfillment is all about, is finding that deep connection within ourselves so we can experience it outside of ourselves. But it's almost like they go about looking for love in all of the wrong spaces, or looking for fulfillment in all of the wrong places. And it's almost like they had this opportunity here in this connection with you, but then they screwed it up, to be honest with you. Like, and I think that's really, you know, confusing for you, because you're like, I know that there's a desire there, so why the hell do they show up in this way? Let's get, why the hell do they show up in this way? This person's energy toward Aries. Lack of healing. Ace of Swords in reverse with the star. A lack of healing. People who are disconnected from themselves, who are disconnected from their true nature, who are disconnected from their soul, are going to seek fulfillment in ego desires. So they're going to seek doing what ego wants. And what ego wants is what ego can control, what makes the ego look good, even if it goes against what the soul's wishes are, right? The soul wants to be loved and accepted and to feel free and to feel good enough as is, and not in the pursuit of other things. But all of those things require an awakening to deeper stuff about ourselves, about the world, and that honesty that's required to get to that place is something that the ego will fight very heavily against. And I feel like this person is in this place of fighting very heavily against the very things that would actually make them feel the way that they're searching for in the wrong way. So this person is a little bit lost on their path and on their journey. Does that mean they're going to be that way forever? No, absolutely not. But there is a lot of healing that needs to be done here. There is a lot of growing up to do that needs to happen. And I think that, one of the things that is coming through very strongly is you tend to attract people that need to do healing. You tend to attract people that need to do the work in order to love you well. People who essentially aren't able to love you in the way that you deserve. And here's the thing, Aries, I feel like you tend to attract people who remind you of how you've been loved in the past. People who are only capable of, because of whatever reason, their emotional availability or awareness or whatever, they're only able to love you in the ways that you're used to being loved. And this is very common. Again, we tend to be attracted to our unfinished business. We attract into our life what we feel is going to help us heal, but what actually happens is we attract that wounding because that healing has to be done within us. Because if we don't heal the wound that keeps driving us back into the places that wound us, we're going to keep driving ourselves into the wounding. So I feel like this is about figuring out, what's going on here below the surface. Every relationship in our life is an assignment. Every single relationship in our life is teaching us something about ourselves, about our lack of healing, about our insecurities, our fears around love, all of those things. And we have to be willing to look at that mirror, because that mirror is the only way to set ourselves free from the repetition of cycles. It's easy to look at people, and I hear this all the time. All men or women are the same. You can't trust them. They all leave. They all cheat. They're all emotionally unavailable. Like, there's this belief that because you've experienced something so many times to this point, that means that's always what it's going to look like or always what it's going to be. But in reality, you've experienced a certain thing to this point because that is a cycle that you keep experiencing, which means that the possibility is far beyond that. But we are going to always reach for what we believe to be possible. And in love specifically, we tend to reach for the level of love that we're used to. And when we start to recognize that this is happening, we can start to show up differently. So I feel like this is about understanding, like I said, the deeper cycle at play and where it's really stemming from, so that you can break out of it and attract the love that you have always been worthy and deserving of, but maybe have never really been wired to believe exists or to accept into your life. So with that being said, we're going to hop on over to the extended view of Sparks with Dream Come True. I'm going to dive deeper into this whole thing. We're going to look at the deeper purpose and the best way for you to move forward in alignment with your higher self. So looking at the dynamic, looking at what that represents in your life, and ultimately looking at what's in your power and your control to move forward in alignment with your higher self. Any information for that is in the description box below. Today is the last day. Today at 5 p.m. Central Time is the last day to purchase tickets for my workshop tomorrow, which is all about how to read tarot. This is me kind of spilling how I've learned to read tarot, my journey with tarot, the mistakes that I've made, what I've learned from those mistakes, and ultimately how I've used tarot to create a life beyond my wildest dreams. I'm very excited about this. I've even put together a 30-page booklet. It's like a tarot study guide thing that I'll be sharing with you guys as well. So I put a lot into this. I'm really excited to share it. And any information for that is at the very top of the description box below. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email or drop me a comment, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you so much, Aries, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Aries.